Hi there, this is James Swanwick, and you're listening to the Alcohol-Free Lifestyle Podcast, where you learn how to take back control over alcohol and live a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness. The 5 mistakes affluent entrepreneurs make with their drinking. I am James Swanwick. This is the Alcohol-Free Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you for spending some time with me. So if you are an entrepreneur, and you're a business owner, you may be a 7-figure business owner, an 8-figure business owner, then you are likely committing these 5 big mistakes, especially as it relates to alcohol. Alcohol can essentially just pour gasoline on an already huge fire. And if you're a business owner, then you're likely at times dealing with marketing and sales and staff retention and hiring and firing and taxes and deals and networking and strategizing and putting out fires with team members and facing crises, while also trying to network and get to business conferences and consider market conditions and trends. It's a lot. I know, because I've been running 2 main businesses now since 2015. One of them is our coaching business, Alcohol-Free Lifestyle, and the other is Swanwick Sleep, which is my e-commerce company called Swanwick Sleep, where we produce mostly blue light blocking glasses and an array of other sleep products. And I can tell you from experience over those 10 years, thankfully I haven't been drinking during those 10 years, but during those 10 years, I've had to face all types of challenges, many of which I just outlined there, including, and again, I know I'm being repetitive here, but I think it's worth repeating, including hiring, firing, putting out fires, dealing with different personalities, changing US governments and tax laws and strategies and sales taxes and bookkeeping and different time zones and trends and clients and customers and refunds and chargebacks and inventory and cash flow management. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And if you are drinking while being a business owner, you are likely holding yourself back. Drinking alcohol while you're a business owner, it's like a ball and a chain around your ankles. And you may mistakenly believe that a drink or 2 or 5 at the end of the night is somehow relieving you of your stress from running a business. But it's not. It's actually increasing your stress. Many of you listening here, before I get into these 5 mistakes that entrepreneurs are making, many of you here are also married with children, maybe divorced with children, and you're trying to run a business, you're trying to generate revenues and profits, while simultaneously trying to create love in your romantic relationship, while being an attentive parent to your children, while dealing with family challenges and issues. And some of your family members may have health complications, or you may have health complications. And that's putting a lot of stress. Maybe you've got high blood pressure, you're not sleeping well, your cholesterol levels are high, your triglycerides are high. Maybe your wife or your husband or your partner has got their own health challenges. Maybe they've got their own financial challenges in their business or in their job. Or maybe the kids are screaming if they're young kids and you can't get sleep, and you've got all this pressure. Maybe you got to get your kids to football practice. Maybe your kids are adult by now and you've just lost touch with them and they don't call, and not as much as you want them to. There's all of these pressures in addition to running a business. It's a lot. I can sense the business owner listeners right now nodding their head going, yes, I get it. Yep, that's me. So here are 5 mistakes that affluent entrepreneurs make with their drinking. Number 1 is prioritizing networking over their health. So business owners often attend numerous social and networking events where alcohol is prevalent. And then overindulging can become habitual. And overindulging in alcohol or foods, when you go out to restaurants with people, you eat poorly, you eat burgers and fries, and you get the desserts, and you're drinking a bottle of wine, you're having a few drinks. And all of this overindulging can become habitual and lead to long-term health issues. From the alcohol, liver disease. From the alcohol and the poor diet, high blood pressure. And then that also causes neglect in personal and family care. Because if you're out and about all the time, focusing on your work, whether it be networking with other people or whether it just be running your business, staying up late, fixated on your screen, on your phone, then you're probably neglecting elements of your health, and you're probably neglecting elements of your personal life, i.e. your wife or husband or your children. And it becomes all too easy, doesn't it, to say, well, I've got to run a business. I've got to run a business here. I've got a business to run. I've got to put food on the table. And we use that as an excuse, almost like a numbing effect. So we get to avoid having challenging conversations with our wife or husband or our children, or we get to avoid being more present. Sometimes we workaholics love to be workaholics, not because we love the work so much, but because we have what we consider valid reason or excuse not to be fully present in our main relationships. Can you relate to this? So prioritizing networking, prioritizing your business over your health, physical health and your personal relationship health, is a big mistake that I see people make. And it's a big mistake that I made. Big mistake I made. I remember I got in such work mode back in about 2016, 17, a year or two after I started the Swanee's business at the sleep company. And the sleep company was doing so well. And I was just so absolutely focused on it. And I didn't have time to talk to my mum or my dad. I was agitated with my brother, who was my business partner, because I was just so singularly focused on growth. And we did achieve growth, that is true. But a consequence of that was challenging relationships. My relationships with my parents and with my brother certainly were compromised. My brother thought I was an arrogant asshole and pompous. My mother was worried that I was thinking I was too good for everyone else because I was leading this entrepreneurial journey. And I can just see it also in other personal relationships. I was just so singularly focused on the business that I became dismissive of anything that didn't help me achieve what my business goal was. Now again, luckily I wasn't drinking because I haven't drunk since 2010, but if you're behaving that way and you're consuming alcohol, which is just attractively packaged poison, and therefore you're not sleeping the way that nature intended you to sleep, and you're waking up irritable and foggy and distracted, you're more likely to snap at your wife or husband or your kids. You're more likely to be distracted. You're more likely to make poor strategic choices in your business. You're more likely to be prone to lashing out, getting into arguments, becoming belligerent, maybe pompous, arrogant, cocky. And then the day goes on, and now it's like, I just need to relieve the tension with a drink or 5. The second mistake I see entrepreneurs make with their drinking is using alcohol as a stress reliever. Many business owners turn to alcohol as a quick solution for stress relief after a demanding day, and this can develop into a dependency, which ultimately impairs decision making, reduces the quality of work, more likely to have strained family relationships due to the inconsistent behavior. And then there's emotional withdrawal. Can you relate to this? I hear this all the time from our clients in our alcohol-free lifestyle program. Project 90, where they're saying, you know, I've used alcohol as a stress reliever. I was stressed, had a demanding day. All I wanted to do was go and open a bottle of wine. All I wanted to do was go and drink 4 or 5 beers. All I wanted to do was have whiskey, sit down. And then, of course, it develops into a dependency where you can't even imagine a day without doing that, without drinking. And then, of course, that leads to you being snappy and irritable, sometimes getting drunk, saying regrettable things, getting into unnecessary arguments. Now, that puts a strain on the family. That puts a strain on the relationship. You've got this inconsistent behavior. You're erratic. You're withdrawing emotionally. Now, maybe if you're in a marriage, the marriage is just drifting. You'd rather go and drink your alcohol than talk to your partner, connect with your partner. Because connecting with your partner just seems too hard. So number 2, the second biggest mistake is using alcohol as a stress reliever. The third mistake I see and hear entrepreneurs making with their drinking, certainly this is what our clients tell us, is neglecting the impact of alcohol on their professional image. So regular excessive drinking can tarnish a business owner's professional image and reputation. It might lead to inappropriate behavior, unguarded conversations, poor judgments that are observed by peers and staff and team members, potentially leading to lost respect and leadership credibility. One of our programs at Alcohol Free Lifestyle is literally called Leadership, and it's all about how do we embody leadership? How do we get to be great leaders? When we're drinking, we're not the best leaders we can be. When we're drinking a lot, as I submit many of our listeners to the show are, we're more likely to say an inappropriate thing. Unguarded conversations. We bitch or we moan or we gossip. We get frustrated because we're tired and we're emotional, and so we chastise an employee or a team member. We're constantly trying to catch them out doing the wrong thing instead of catching them doing the right thing. We stop praising our team members. We stop acknowledging them. We get fixated on ourselves. And we start saying to ourselves, God, no one can do this as well as me. Why can't these guys just do what I ask them to do? And then you snap because you had those 5 drinks the night before, because you didn't sleep well, because you're tired and irritable, because you know you are drifting in your life, because you know not everything is A-okay in your marriage, because you know your kids are starting to get to an age where they're either losing respect for you or they're just moving away from you, and you're starting to question your life. Regular excessive drinking can tarnish our image and reputation in the eyes of customers, clients, business partners, people we collaborate with, team members, staff, advisors, consultants. So the third mistake is neglecting the impact on our professional image. The fourth mistake I see and hear entrepreneurs making is overlooking the marital and family impact. When the business and alcohol take precedence, marital relationships can suffer. This might manifest as reduced time spent together, lack of communication, emotional disconnect, potentially leading to marital discord and family instability. When business and alcohol take precedence, think about it. What's taking precedence in your life? What are your list of priorities? Because our priorities and our current values show up in our actions. And if your actions are focusing on the business and choosing to digest and consume alcohol at the end of a day, and then after that, the priority is making sure your marriage is solid, making sure your kids are taken care of, making sure that you're playing with them if they're of that age, or at the very least connecting with them if they're of a teenage or in their 20s or 30s, if they're adult children. And also your health, your physical health. Overlooking the marital and family impact. The thing is, your wife or husband or your partner may have said something to you about your drinking and you dismissed it. You're, oh, don't be ridiculous, I don't drink that much. And you're lying to yourself. You do drink that much. If you didn't drink that much, I would submit you likely wouldn't be listening to my words right now. Now, many of you who are listening are successful clients. You've gone through and you're now living alcohol free and you just love listening to this kind of stuff and it keeps you in accountability, and that's amazing, and I salute you and I acknowledge you. But most of our listeners here are listening because they're still drinking and they're trying to find a solution to either reduce or stop. And maybe your wife or husband or partner has said something about your drinking. Or maybe they haven't said something. Maybe they haven't actually had an intentional conversation. But unknowingly, to you at least, they're thinking, oh, I'm really, really worried and concerned. Or how do I get a divorce here? I feel stuck. My husband is not the man I married. My wife is not the woman I married. My partner is not the person that they were when we first met. He or she is not providing, protecting, nurturing, listening, being present. He or she is completely distracted. We're drifting. Maybe they're having that conversation. You just don't know it. Maybe you're having those thoughts in your mind and you haven't conveyed those to your partner. And of course, nobody really wants to have that conversation because it feels awkward, right? It feels challenging. And because it feels awkward and challenging, you take the easy option. And the easy option is to drink alcohol at the end of the day and to focus on your work and to be super busy on your work and work late. And there's a justifiable reason for procrastinating this conversation. Too much work to do. Too much work to do. And then even when you do finish work at a reasonable hour, the work that you've done is so tiring and draining, you just want to relax and have a few drinks. You'll get to that conversation with your husband or wife or partner another time. Next week, next month. We'll sort it out next year. I'll just wait for her to have her birthday. I'll just wait for him to finish that project and then we'll have the conversation. Just BS excuses. If you're listening and you're over the age of 50, you know that we have less time on the planet than what we've already had, and life is tick, 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 ticking away. Now is the time to take action. The fifth mistake I see and hear entrepreneurs making and saying is ignoring the financial drain. Regular spending on expensive wines and spirits and frequent bar visits, they add up. They impact financial resources that could be better invested back into the business or saved for family future needs. And in severe cases, it could lead to financial instability due to prioritizing alcohol over prudent financial choices. We have a lost money calculator, which I want to invite you to take. It's a little 2-minute quiz you can take online. If you go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/scorecard, for business owners, it will ask you a few questions about the revenue that you make in your business, how much you're drinking alcohol, how you feel as a consequence of drinking alcohol. It's going to ask you how much revenue do you think you might make in your business if you were consistently alcohol free with clarity and focus and energy. It's going to do a little calculation and then it's going to give you a score. And this score is going to shockingly say to you, this is how much money you are leaving on the table every single month because you're drinking any amount of alcohol. And it is unbelievably accurate. People who've taken this scorecard, this quiz, have been absolutely shocked at what results they get back. Because in many cases, when business owners take this quiz, they realize that they're leaving $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a month on the table in their business because they're not making good strategic choices, because they're irritable and foggy and distracted, and because there are problems at home, because there are problems with their kids, and because they're not able to put their full attention into this, as well as their health, as well as their family. So just a warning, if you take this scorecard, brace yourself for a shocking result. You might be shocked to learn that you choosing drinking alcohol is potentially leaving you with $1 million less in your bank account over the course of a year. $100,000 less, $50,000 less, $400,000 less. Of course, it depends on what your business is doing now and how much you are drinking and how much you tell the quiz the consequences of your drinking. But it is frightfully accurate. So I encourage you to go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/scorecard to realize the actual financial drain on your business and on your income because of your drinking habits. People mistakenly think, oh, I'm only spending $500, $1,000 a month on alcohol. And that's only what, $6,000, $10,000 a year. Whatever, that's no big deal. You know, I'm a business owner, I'm making $500,000, $100,000, million, but whatever, that's fine. But that's not the true financial cost. The true financial cost is what you just believe, which is what you're actually paying for alcohol, plus what you do not make in your business because you're tired and irritable and not sleeping well, because you're distracted and foggy. If you're married and you are headed for a divorce or you've had a divorce, you know how expensive divorce can be. So the true cost is actually the cost of your divorce. Now, you've got to separate your assets. In some cases, let's say a couple has a net worth of $5 million. Well, now you can make an argument that your drinking habits has just cost you $2.5 million. Assuming, of course, that you split the assets with your partner 50-50. That doesn't include all of the legal fees. Divorce lawyers love people getting divorced. Lots of money to be made. Doesn't include the impact of the divorce on your mental health, which then could lead to even excessive drinking, poor eating, less exercise, a feeling of lethargy, a feeling of despair. And now all of a sudden you're having to go to the doctors and say, I'm depressed, and then the doctor puts you on prescription medication, anti-anxiety medication. Now you're paying more money there. Then there are all those side effects that come with that. And because you're depressed and you're sad and you're lamenting, guess what suffers? The business. All of a sudden, the $10,000 you thought you were only spending on alcohol very, very quickly turns into hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. There is a cost to your drinking. So the fifth biggest mistake is business owners ignoring the financial drain. So just to review this, the 5 big mistakes that affluent entrepreneurs make with their drinking. Number 1 was prioritizing networking over their health. Number 2, using alcohol as a stress reliever. Number 3, neglecting the impact on the professional image of the business owner in the eyes of customers, clients, and team members. Number 4, overlooking the marital and family impact. And number 5 was ignoring the financial drain. I've had a life with alcohol and a life without, and I can tell you, from a purely business perspective, I've made millions of dollars being alcohol-free. I was only making hundreds of thousands of dollars when I was drinking. Just talking about the business and the financial aspect of it. On a health aspect, I was puffy and chubby and overweight and not sleeping well. And now I have the body nature intended me to have. I'm lean, I'm energetic, I sleep well. On the happiness, I used to be irritable and distracted and foggy most of the time. Now I'm irritable, distracted and foggy sometimes. Most of the time I'm clear and energetic and healthy and happy. And so are our clients who are in this position that you are now, struggling with their drinking. They've tried 30-day challenges, they've tried white knuckling it, they may have even gone to an AA meeting. They've tried brute willpower, didn't work. And then they made the choice to get in a like-minded group of other successful business owners who are successful in business, but who have recognized that they're unsuccessful in their personal lives, in their health, and in their happiness. They knew, or rather they now know, that the way to change your life is with coaching, accountability, and community. Coaching, accountability, and community. And not a community of people in an AA meeting with meth addicts and people saying, I'm an alcoholic. You are not an alcoholic. The term alcoholic does not even exist. There is no scientific evidence anywhere or literature that says that the word alcoholic is even a word. It's just a made-up word that people use. You're not a meth addict, so why are you choosing to go and spend time with meth addicts? If you're listening to this particular episode, maybe the show title attracted you, Affluent Entrepreneurs. So if that's you, I suspect you want to be in a community of other affluent entrepreneurs who are also going through the same challenges and the same joy and the same breakthroughs as you. If that is you and you'd like to join our Project 90 Stop Drinking process, which helps business owners just like you to finally get long-term power over their drinking habits, then I invite you to click the link in the show notes in the description of this podcast and book a call with us. A free 20-minute, no obligation phone call with one of our trained coaches. You can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. There's a little 20-minute explanation video about the process, and underneath that video there's a section there where you can schedule to have a 20-minute no obligation call with one of our team. If you're a business owner and you want power over your drinking habits and it's time to make a shift, go to that URL, schedule to speak with us, and we'll chat. I hope this felt eye-opening for many of our listeners. Thank you so much for listening. Stay strong. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Alcohol Free Lifestyle podcast. I want to load you up with some free stuff right now. So if you want to go to jamesswanwick.com/guide, I will send you my Quit Alcohol Guide, which has helped six-figure entrepreneurs and top professionals reduce or quit drinking. You can also text the word Quit Guide to the number 44222 if you're in the US, of course. It doesn't really work anywhere outside of the US, but if you're in the US on your mobile phone and you'd like that guide, text the word Quit Guide to the number 44222, or you can go to jamesswanwick.com/guide. If you'd like to schedule a free 15-minute call with one of my top coaches, just an exploratory call to see if or how we can help you, then you can go to jamesswanwick.com/schedule, or you can text the word Project 90 to the number 44222 if you're listening in the US on a mobile phone. That's jamesswanwick.com/schedule, or you can text the word Project 90, that's one word, Project 90, to the number 44222. Feel free to send me a direct message over on my Instagram account, which is @JamesSwanwick. You can also watch video episodes of this podcast and a series of other educational videos on my YouTube channel, which is James Swanwick 1, or you can direct message me on Facebook @James Swanwick Official. And finally, a request. Would you please now write a short review of the podcast inside of the Apple Podcast app on your phone or on iTunes on your desktop computer? Would you please give the show 5 stars and write a quick 1 or 2 sentence review? This will help the show get in front of even more listeners, potentially transforming someone's life. You can rate and review the show inside of your Apple Podcast app on your phone or over on iTunes on your desktop. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you next time.